Motu keyboards. Today we have a friend with us. This is Takin from Zeta Keyboards. They're a friend of ours who just have designed a new keyboard, so you might see it in Mecha soon. But that's besides the point. We're going to talk about something that was graciously given to us by our friends at Motu Keyboard. Motu sent us their Motu 80 keyboard, which is their TKL, as well as the Motu Sonnet, which is their latest release, the 75%. Our other friends over at Moondrop, the weird, amazing...
Let's go!
Your favorite waifu making company, who isn't actually Japanese, decide to release switches, which we'll also talk about soon once we get to them. Thank you Moondrop, thank you Motu Keyboards. This red one here is just like a client's build, but because it's also a Motu, it's technically the second keyboard in the lineup, the Motu 65 before this came out. When they first released the Motu 80, people were like, oh wow, it's another premium price TKL. Sometime in the middle of September 2020.
Yeah, 2020.
I'll be honest, it sounded really hollow and very mediocre at that time. And what we have now here is the V2. It's supposed to be, improved, new and improved. This guy built it.
Motu 80. Okay. If you look a bit closely, you start to notice this line being slightly bigger than this line. The line between here and here should be the same of 0.25 units. It could be a design choice, but it just makes it look a bit off to me. Chamfers are done correctly, but I still think they're a bit sharp on the external edges. It looks like the same radius for the internal ones for the keycaps and the outside, so it can be a bit rough. They didn't chamfer the bottom. This one is a chamfer on the top mist, but there's no chamfer on the bottom. That's because that's not how the light reflects, right?
This is not a bad looking board by any means. Maybe this channel and this channel is a bit off, but when you look at the board, it hits a target aesthetic, especially. It has a lot of nice clean lines for the people that like the big brass bottoms of your key cult number 2s. Not that much cheaper than a key cult, but it kind of hits the same aesthetic, especially with the long black rubber feet running along the bottom.
Another thing, Motu 80 has the standard 2 screws. That's pretty cool, but there's this problem. This is due to the way the 80 assembles, where there's a latch where the bottom case will go into, and then it's screwed in by 2 screws in here. So unless your tolerances are really bloody tight, there's no way that this idea will ever go well. So the board itself sounds okay, but this happens. This is a thing about me holding it up as well, but this sound is definitely exacerbated when you type on it.
I'd say you should only get this board if you like how it looks, or you're the kind of person that types while using noise cancelling headphones.
Or if you like to customize every single piece of your keyboard, because they do have a very nice website. I'll give props there. It's great for the marketing and great for people who are just hey, let's just play around and see what combinations could.
Their ads are also really nice.
On to part 2. So the Motu 80 was the first iteration of Motu keyboards. Then came this one, which is a Motu 65. I like the way it looks, especially when you have the multicolored accent piece or the stainless steel accent piece that goes over. It's basically a magnetically attached cover piece, accent piece to hide the screws. So you get this entire screwless exterior. Absolutely no screws here, none here. So it's a really aesthetically looking clean board.
There is a really nice detail I appreciated, which is the USB cutout. The way they did the cutout here is it looks very clean and it's very neat. It's well machined with good tolerances. That has to do with the fact that they probably found a very good manufacturer.
Do we talk about the anno mismatch? I mean, okay, let's be real. A lot of keyboards do face this issue because the fact is, when you run the metal parts through anodization, what happens is that because they're differently sized and because of their different surface area, you need different concentrations for each different piece to get the same color for them. I mean, I don't expect everyone to get it exactly spot on, but you can tell like this one, this little top weight and the rest of this top case
It's not the same.
is not the same.
The bottom case matched okay, but it's on camera, you can see
It matched okay, but I think what's different is that the sandblasting might be of a different grit or like just slightly different so that, yeah, you can see, right? Like this part reflects more than this. This was built with a brass plate and glorious pandas and no stick. I mean, sometimes it's just, it sounds like a keyboard. It's nothing too offensive.
This is definitely a keyboard.
Yes, it's definitely a keyboard. Amazing.
Yep, definitely a keyboard.
Great, fantastic, great success.
There is more to talk about for the Sonnet.
But I want to move on to the one that I like a bit more.
this is the big daddy.
This is the actually good one.
I broke my cardinal rule of, you know, fuck foam, and I just built everything with foam because I don't give a shit what you think about me.
Mode needs to have foam in their boards.
I will build this again without foam because they gave us like 4 different plate options. There was like carbon fiber FR4, aluminum, and I think polycarbonate. But anyway, this is just to like illustrate how the Mode keyboard is mounted. So down here, there's this little bottom lip that you can see on camera, hopefully, that basically hooks in and latches in on the inside of this top case. And then what happens is that that's the bottom half of it, and then this closes down, and then you screw them on.
So this whole bottom piece is copper. So copper is not generally a normal material found in most keyboards. Copper is heavy. But you can see on the inside, there's like there's an embedded weight inside the big weight bottom. If you choose to get the Sonnet without the copper bottom, you'll have this internal weight with like an aluminium bottom. What's really nice is they made these ridges. I haven't done too much research into this, but generally it's something to do with like dissipating the audio, so
dispersing
the sound waves, so it doesn't reflect back and become like super sharp sounding, something like that.
Don't know if that's true or not.
It's a lot of thickness foiling. So take this with a large grain of salt.
We didn't really touch on like other things, but there are a few like small details that I would like to say, that I would like to comment.
Bottom edge chamfer.
I guess bottom edge chamfer is one thing. No, but like, you know, it's less important. I think the grand scheme of things, right? As a non-believer of Mode initially, I think that what they really did well was the packaging is pretty good. They thought of basically everything. They provide you all the parts. They even provide you all the bits that you need, right? With a driver itself, you can basically put it together without needing to buy any additional things. Like, you can even get stabilizers from them and just like put everything together. Like stabilizer, they give lube as well, right?
Yeah.
For the people who have a certain aesthetic, you know, you want your slightly minimalist look, you want your slightly painless build process, just buy one of these, everything comes together and you just slap everything together and you call it a day.
Props to Mode for having this much availability in their customization.
Oh yeah, true.
Even adding just 1 or 2 options makes it like exponentially harder to coordinate logistics and to run a group by. QC becomes a nightmare because you're QCing many different things.
That's one important thing that I didn't really touch on, is that these boards are mostly in stock. So you get it, right? You can get it within a week. Even replacement parts. So the client who did the Mode 65, hers originally came with a black bottom, and she was like, oh, I wanted it to be like a full maroon red, and she just bought the red bottom and sent it over to us, which came in like 3 days. So, you know, Mode does have all these parts availability and continues to support like even the first gen Mode 80, which was what, 2 years old by this point.
At the price Mode is offering, you have decent value in terms of what you get, but the board itself, I'd say I wouldn't pay that price for it.
They can do better.
They're not the greatest, they're not the cheapest, but if you're a beginner and you're looking to get into like a first board and you have a lot of money, look at Mode.
I think the philosophy and like everything around it is good. Just the
boards.
It's just the actual design of the boards.
The actual boards.
To enthusiasts will not really turn them on, but to most people who are just getting into hobby or just want something nice, they are one of the go-tos that I'll recommend easily, if you can stomach the price.
Moondrop switches, because we kind of glossed over it. Tessence is the tactile one, that's the bluish grey one, and Lunalight is the linear one, the white one. A few things to mention about them. The pins are really, really soft.
They get destroyed quite easily, so I mean, I wish they made it a little more sturdy.
That's not the linear. The linear is a pretty standard nylon full housing one. It's a linear, I guess. It's pretty smooth. It's not factory loop. It's alright, it's not special. But the tactile is actually pretty nice. When you press on it, it's more of a D-bump, so there's very little pre or post. The peak of the bump isn't actually that high.
It's a very rounded bump.
Yeah, it's something I would say close to an Ergo Clear. It feels like a medium tactile in like how hard it goes. With most MX tactiles, there comes the problem with leaf crunch and spring click, and it is quite apparent on the tactile. The springs could be better, even though they say they're Korean springs. They probably are, but they don't sound that good. So it's not the holy grail of tactile switches. We haven't gone past that yet. If you want to try these out, they're already in they'll be on the mods on it and the Mode 80 that we already have.
At mecha.store.
At the mecha.store. Ooh.
Buy waifu.
Buy waifu.
We're trying to bring this in for you bloody weebs. Alright?
For waifu.
For waifu. Thanks Mods for saying these over.
I think you've done a good job, man.
Yeah, sponsored by well, kind of. They did kind of send us these, so sponsored by Mo.